What's going on?
There we go. There it is.
Excuse my sleepy eyes. I just got up from a nap.
Mr. Cook, ew, educational, I'm not watching this. Look, I'm just trying to get it out to more people. That's echoing.
This is educational, thank you.
Yup. Very educational. Very
Here to
educational
educate
indeed.
you, swine. Just kidding. You're not swine. Why can't I see? Oh, there's the chat.
There we go. Alright. Sorry for pushing it back a day, guys. That was on me.
Honestly, it didn't hurt my feelings a whole lot after playing 8 softball games this weekend. Your boy needed a night off.
Yeah, I bet. Because you were going to play softball late, and I was up late and just tired anyway, so push it back. We're both a little bit bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. More so. We both took naps today, so that'll help.
Wonderful.
That'll help. Mission Fail's going to lurk. Okay, I got you, combo, no worries. Yeah.
What does lurk mean? Does
So
that mean he's just gonna hang out in the background and not talk?
yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha. See, I need to know what the kids are saying these days so I can stay up with the times.
I thought the air conditioner was his open door. LOL.
Yeah, my laundry's not done. My house is a mess.
Mine
I was
too.
gonna come home and like vacuum and do some laundry, and I was like, you know what? I'm turning on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm taking a nap. That's exactly what I did.
And there it is.
There it is. It's
Yeah.
all grown up, kids.
Welcome to adulthood. I was supposed to clean the house this weekend and it just didn't happen. So, oh well. Oh well. Oh well.
Another thing I was gonna add. How about the Miami Marlins just like rolling out their team? Have you seen anything about that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit at work today. The baseball's over, basically.
Dude, you don't say that, okay?
I'm just saying, dude. They
and
played
second-
their game, and now the Phillies aren't playing their game tonight.
Four of their
And
dudes tested positive, and they're like, nah, just roll them out. It's cool. It's cool. And now it's like, oh, 19. 19 of them?
Jesus.
That's like a roster. Almost.
Yeah, this is the thing
That'd
right
be
here.
okay.
Actually, it says some games postponed after Marlins outbreak.
If the Marlins need a catcher, hit me up, bro. I still got it, all right? I still got it.
Yeah, baseball's looking like it might be over. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it's not looking good. My thing is, why hold the bubble for every sports event and sports thing playing in Florida where coronavirus is the worst?
Yeah.
Why was
that's
that?
true.
Why was that smart? Why was that the smart move? I mean, I get the weather's pretty nice and all, but like, you couldn't have done it anywhere else, like, at all.
I
Florida.
understand if money wasn't an option, they should have just gone to like 3 or 4. I don't know what the number is, but like domes, and had
Yeah.
everybody play there and like put a bubble around divisions or whatever. But then stadiums got to get their money and blah blah blah. So
It's weird. The only ones that are not like really suffering from this is soccer. Soccer's still going on just fine.
yeah,
So
soccer's doing fine.
soccer's doing fine. The NFL is a little bit getting a little bit weird. I think there's some players here and there that have it. I don't know. It's strange.
The mortality rate of COVID and the people among that mortality rate that are vitamin D deficient, that number is now up to 96%.
I know. Just go outside and get some sun, kids.
Get your vitamin D.
Get
Go
outside.
out, get some sun.
Get some
they
sun.
Sell it. They sell it at like your local Hy-Vee, H-E-B, Walmart,
Whatever.
wherever
True.
you're at.
You can go buy vitamin D
Get-
pills. Go
I
buy
take
some pills.
I take 2 fish oil, 1 vitamin D every morning.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause-
take any of those. I take a multivitamin.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of sun while I'm driving to and from work, so.
Slump Commish. What
Michael,
up, bro?
what's up? He said, fuck
F soccer. That's cool. I mean, I'm fine.
Whatever. Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Just,
Or you know what, Mr. Goku? If people just wear a mask, I was talking to a nurse. on this weekend. One of my buddy's wives is a nurse, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna botch these percentages." But anyway, if you have COVID, right, and I have not COVID, I have not COVID.
I have not COVID. The opposite of COVID, not COVID.
I have not COVID. I'm still waking up from a nap. Let me get some more whiskey. Okay, you have COVID. I don't have COVID. You and I sit down at a table, whatever. If I'm wearing a mask and you're not wearing a mask, I have like a 25% chance of catching it. If you're not wearing a mask and I'm not wearing a mask, I have like an 85% chance. It's really high. If we're both wearing a mask, it's like a 1.5%.
Yeah, it's super small chance.
So just wear a fucking mask, dude.
It's not that hard. Nobody's infringing. We've said this for like 3 weeks in a row. Nobody's infringing on your rights by having you wear a mask.
I don't want the government telling me that I have to wear a mask, but I'm going to be a responsible human and try to do what's best to stop this thing because I like baseball and I like bars and I like hugging my friends. So just wear a mask, dude. Come on.
It's not hard. Just wear the mask.
I bought 4
You know where you have a 0% chance of getting COVID? Outside in the sunlight. Because apparently that thing dies on contact with sunlight. So this is where I'll be like, staying in my home, maybe not the best idea. Because if you have kids, those little fuckers are going to be out and around doing whatever they do. And once inevitably they go back to school in the fall, because that's what they're pushing for, they're going to bring it home and then everybody's stuck inside sick. Go outside.
Get outside.
Get you some vitamin D. If you cough outside, make sure you're fucking socially distant from everybody. And the shit just dies on contact with the sun. So even if your droplets hit somebody in the face, by the time they get to you, if you're more than 6 feet away, the sun will have killed it.
Yep. I like the comment section. It's just getting popping right now.
Right. This one, nothing's wrong with me.
I appreciate y'all's support.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, wear a mask.
Wear your mask. Spaceman, last week was Mr. but I still have work. Much love and support. I got you, Spaceman. No worries. Finish your work, bro. I look at any of that stuff, but I still wear a mask. Yeah, just wear your mask. It's not difficult. I wear a mask for 8 hours a day at work. It's not hard.
I bought a bunch of these. Maybe these guys will sponsor us. I bought these neck gaiters, dude.
Oh yeah.
On Amazon for like $22 here.
Nice. Bamsis, there you go.
Super simple, dude.
Real easy. I bought like a 10-pack of
the
Hanes masks for like $14 or so.
Yeah, I paid $22 on Amazon for 4 of these, and like softball tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
It was perfect because like in and out of the dugouts, I would just hey guys, good game, whatever. Womp womp womp. They get in, we get in. Loki, leave it. And then as soon as don't pop your dog, as soon as we get out on the field, and then if somebody gets to first base, I'd walk over. If I was like in close contact with them, I'd just slide it up. It's really not that difficult.
No, it's not at all. It's really
kind of makes me look like what's his name from Scooby Doo, wearing like an ascot.
Oh yeah, the ascot. Yeah, it's an ascot.
But kept the sun off my neck, and stylish. I could rob a bank. Don't rob a bank.
Don't do that. Don't rob banks. Oh Jesus. Yep, Mr. Goku, or keep your children and you in the house, and go get some sun in your backyard.
Put a hat on too.
Put a hat on too. Yes. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Lacey did. What up, Lacey? Thanks for joining.
But yeah, basically just fucking wear your masks. Again.
Yeah.
Just wear your mask.
Not that big of a deal.
Not that big of a deal. And we'll get through this just fine.
I gotta keep my children in the house. Stop contact. Yeah. Yep.
But
anyway, if the Marlins ruin baseball, I'm gonna hate the Marlins and Derek Jeter so much more than I already do. But I'm not giving up.
Maybe we'll get lucky and it won't be too bad. And they won't cancel baseball, and football will still proceed as scheduled. And everything will be.
Here's
just
an
fine.
idea. Let's just give it to all of them right now. Let's just.
Why don't we just tell everyone get COVID and then we can all go outside and not wear masks?
That's right. Survival of the fittest, baby.
At this point, fuck it. Why not?
Come get your COVID shot.
That's it was so bad, so wrong. Then all the government conspiracy theorists are gonna be like, "See, I told you they're injecting us with COVID."
That's the next thing for 2020. I mean,
oh my gosh,
aliens are real.
Yeah, aliens are real.
Aliens are real.
Oh, not aliens, but aliens.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, yeah. UFOs are a thing. The government has
they admitted that
they've been tracking it for like 30 years. They've got so much data and research and
we've got the crafts.
Yeah.
They came out. What did they call it? Let me Google it.
There's one that's
not Google it. Do it. I can't talk right now, dude. I need more whiskey.
That one guy, Commander Fravor, he caught the Tic Tac craft on his thing, on his FLIR camera on his jet.
If you haven't listened to that podcast and you still think that aliens aren't real, go listen to Commander Fravor on Joe Rogan.
It's Joe Rogan. Now. There's the most recent one he just did was with crap, I'll have to look it up.
Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbell, and I'll look it up and you guys can...
From Los Angeles.
You guys can, let's see.
But it all ties back to Bob Lazar and
Los Alamos and all that stuff. Let me look.
Imagine Bob Lazar.
George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. Joe Rogan podcast. I actually put a link to that podcast in the chat real fast, actually, because...
And they talk about Bob Lazar and a lot of other key figures in the alien community.
There's a link to that Joe Rogan podcast. That one was super interesting. It was a very interesting podcast, a very interesting listen to the whole alien thing that's going on. That the government admitted that UFOs are real and that was just a blip on the news for one night because everybody else is still talking about the Rona.
I'm looking for the term that they used.
They
said that they have no longer in the shadows. Pentagon's UFOs unit will make some findings public. UFO videos have been officially released by the Pentagon.
Logie. Stop it. It's just a bunny rabbit or people walking by. You're fine.
Oh, the one that I'm looking for is they came out and said that they have it was basically, I'm going to butcher the term and I'll find the exact terminology, that they have vehicles in our possession that are non-Earth vehicels or something to that effect.
There's like spacecraft and their propulsion system isn't like jets or anything like that. It's basically gravity propelled and it's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. That's
crazy. Speaking of nuts,
Tic Tac video.
Ed Nuts is here. What's going on, Ed Nuts? Coming in hot with the link. What link is this?
I don't know. Let's see.
The UFO clip from 2013 by Paul Hellyer in Russia.
I love our following.
I will watch that. We can watch that. Actually, I'll save that. We can watch it later in the podcast. Yes, Mr. Goku, if you suck on an entire toothpick, you could very well suck that one down your throat and injure yourself. So maybe don't suck on the entire toothpick.
Suck on a tooth? I suck on a toothpick like the whole thing. Is that dangerous? Yes. You should not do that.
Don't do that.
Please
let's see. What else? Oh, what happened last week was right after we ended our podcast, basically the next day. We fucking were like, beware the Clintons. Basically, they're going to kill everyone. And then lo and behold, a FedEx delivery driver, well, not actual FedEx delivery driver, someone dressed up as a FedEx delivery driver, went to the house of the judge that is on the Epstein case and tried to get a hit on her. Actually ended up, instead of killing her, killed her son, and I think seriously injured and or killed her husband. And she was fortunate enough to be in the basement at the time of the attack. Unfortunately, however, her at least I know for a fact her son died, and not 100% on her husband.
I think her son died and her husband was critically injured but did not die. Yeah. Wow, I look like a psychopath. Let me get this thing off.
But yeah, so He was a lawyer who had a prior case with her. Oh, the gunman was a lawyer with a prior case? That's convenient. I'm sure he just got paid a lot of money by whoever the hell paid him to go take her
When
out.
immediately people are like, "Oh, she just convicted a major crime boss of like, and like, well, yeah, that's true, but fucking connect the
Yeah,
dots,
connect the
bro.
dots, man. Like, there's no way
It's
that,
not
like.
that hard.
So the Clintons are still out here trying to kill people. That hasn't changed.
Dude, did you hear that
The
Avicii
Clintons,
was?
Mr. Goku, like Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, the
The
Clintons. He
Clintons.
was a president.
He
Monica
was the
Lewinsky.
president. My birth year, '94. He got a young, naive Jewish girl to top him off in the Oval Office.
So one of my buddies is man, he's huge.
Yes, they're still
Conspiracy.
alive. Did you not pay attention to the 2016 election, Mr. Goku?
Goku.
Hillary was
Read
running against Trump.
Goku, read a book, bro. Come on, get with us.
Keep up.
I mean,
Keep
I
up,
love
keep
you
up,
and
keep
all,
up, keep
but
up, keep
come
up,
on.
keep up.
There's a whole world out there, brother. Anyway, this dude that plays softball with us, major conspiracy theorist. Like, he's like off the. He's a very nice guy and a very intelligent guy, but like if you get him down this whole like Pizzagate rabbit hole, he will like. It comes down to he thinks everything's fake. Like he
Wow.
basically thinks we're living in like a simulation. Which
Dude.
again, a lot of the things he says, I'm like, okay, I understand why you could feel that way, but we got to come back down to earth
Like,
at some point in time.
close the lunchbox.
You know,
Come back.
because if what you think is true, then we're literally all just rats in a cage, and I'm gonna drive myself crazy thinking about that. And I don't really think that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But there are some very interesting. So they can. God, I'm gonna butcher this again. They can do what's called like they're opening a case against somebody, but they don't have enough evidence to file yet. So they basically want to get all their ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, there's like 14,000 of these these motions that they filed, basically saying, "Hey, we don't have our ducks in a row yet, but very soon we will be moving to prosecute these individuals."
Interesting.
And a lot of it ties back to like the Lolita Express.
Mm-hmm.
Because, dude, again, they had that thing wired for video and sound.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, the feds, God love them if this is true. I've never had more faith in the feds in my whole life. If this is true, they've already got video of two very high-ranking U.S. senators having sexual misconduct with two young girls, and apparently that's just like the tip of the iceberg.
Dude, I was reading. What the hell was I reading the other day? Was it something you sent me? I feel like where it was like, no, it wasn't. It was some. Maybe you shared it on Facebook. I don't know, but somebody was like posting is like, here, I'm gonna get this out here on Facebook before they put me in Facebook jail for this, and he was literally like, if you think this is all a conspiracy, you are dead wrong. This is not a conspiracy. This is something that's real and it's been happening. He's like, and I read the whole thing, and I gotta start saving this shit when I see it. Otherwise, I'm never gonna find it again. But it was like, he was like, yeah, the Clintons are in it. There's like multiple Obama's in it. There's multiple other like high profile people in it, and he's like,
Trump's in it.
Yeah, Trump's in it. Like, he's like. It was like Hillary and one of her like good friends. Like there was a video of them doing unspeakable things to a young girl, and it made New York City the two New York City police investigators that watched it just throw up because it was just heinous and disgusting what they did to this young girl. Yeah, it's crazy. We're gonna have to do like a 3-week thing on Pizzagate. There's no way we can cover it in like an hour and a half. We're gonna have to like slot out 3 podcasts to get into this.
It develops more and more every day.
Every day, but it's
crazy.
not a conspiracy. I was talking to a buddy of ours the other day, and he said it's not. He didn't believe it, and I was like, bro, you can't not believe this. Like, there's no way.
And clarify something within. There's a lot of nuts out there that they look at Pizzagate and they use it. It's the same way that the alien community has fucked itself for so long. Like Jeremy Corbell literally says, like talking to like high-ranking like Air Force officials, the alien community discredits itself every day. We don't have to work on trying to discredit it because there's nuts out there that claim this and they claim that, and then when you get down to the bottom of it, they're either trying to make a buck or they have cognitive social disorder or
there's something,
schizophrenia or like this train of thought attracts some real nuts. Conspiracy theories track some real nuts. So there's a lot of crap that exists within this field, but then there's also a lot of really good investigative work that's being done right now that you can't contradict it. It's facts. I mean, it boils down to the fact that some weird shit is going on. Children are being trafficked. A lot of very high-ranking officials,
and it's not just and it's not just the high, like we're focusing, like we're not weird, but like society is focusing on the high-ranking officials because like it's the most high-profile thing, and that's what's gonna like blow it up. But like it's been going on forever with people that aren't like well connected. Like it's been going on for so long, and nobody's really been doing anything about it. But now that like high-profile people are starting to get mentioned, now people want to pay attention a little more, but also the high-profile people are starting to try to squash it.
Well, have you seen that Avicii's quote-unquote death?
Yeah, his wasn't an actual death. It was
pretty strange. And he had that one. I didn't listen to any of his music, but he had one music video of one of his most popular songs that had a lot of weird, like connotations, like a lot of like weird little tip-offs that what he was talking about wasn't really what he was talking about. It was all tied back to like child trafficking and all that shit.
Yep. It's crazy. So don't worry, Mr. Goku. You don't have to do the investigating.
Download DuckDuckGo and you'll be fine. Just get off of Google.
Yeah, don't use Google. DuckDuckGo, and if we do a series of podcasts on investigative podcasts on her.
I need a spyglass.
We do a series of investigative podcasts on Pizzagate. You won't have to do any investigating. We'll do it for you.
Somebody send me a monocle and I'll wear it every podcast.
If they make a jewel version of a pipe, somebody send me that too, and I'll.
Dude, that's $1 million idea right there. Okay, we've got to talk about that one offline.
Nobody else.
Talk about that one offline.
If you guys steal that from us, legal action will be taken.
I will send a UPS driver to your house. That's not true.
That's not right. I don't have the money.
I'm not making you any threats. I don't have that kind of money.
I don't have the bread to do that. But yeah, Edna says, look at the kids who've gone missing under ice custody. Yeah, they just get abducted and then all of a sudden, gone forever.
Night.
So it's crazy.
And what happened to Wayfair?
You see this? This is my imaginary broom, and this over here is my imaginary rug.
Whatever happened to that girl that said she bought that $17,000 dresser? Maybe Ednuts can give some clarity on that because I'm lazy and don't want to do the research.
Didn't even hear what that. We weren't really talking about anything. We were just saying if we do any investigating, Mr. Goku, like we'll do the investigating for you.
Yeah, and DuckDuckGo is a good idea.
It did die down. It did. It got swept under the rug like just crazy.
Nothing happened. Everybody was all over it for a while. Like, this is really weird. This is really strange. And
why are things named after missing children's last names and $17,000? And then all of a sudden, it just was like, oh no, that was a.
Ed Nuts is gonna look at that girl's IG page that ordered that.
Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, that's before we delve any farther down that rabbit hole of Pizzagate, because we're gonna have to. What the hell? No, I did not see a video about that. Link it.
Puro 956, Puro Valle.
But yeah, that's insane.
Our hometown right now is getting ravaged.
Yeah, I saw the stuff that Abby's been posting on Twitter and stuff, like coronavirus, and also you guys have coronavirus and now a hurricane.
Now the hurricane just came through. Yep, it's crazy.
It's getting bad. You mean the pizza hole of Pizzagate? Yes. Yeah, it's.
Well, again, and take a lot of that stuff that just fact check. You gotta use your common sense, fact check it, because like I'm on the Reddit stream and I see a bunch of nuts all the time, just like out there for up votes or whatever it's called on Reddit. I'm like, all right, just go away because
so you gotta
you're
do
discrediting from the actual movement.
The hard thing with that stuff is you've got to wade through so much bullshit before you get to the stuff that's actually true.
Lacey, you do not want a hurricane to come through Florida. I promise. I've lived through hurricanes.
That doesn't
it's
sound
not fun.
It doesn't
There's
sound
a lot
fun at
of
all.
cleanup work involved.
Sending link via Twitter. Okay, cool. Thanks, Ednuts.
Dope.
Well,
she's probably gonna send it to you and not me.
Probably. Ednuts and I are best friends now.
I know she likes you better than she does me these days.
It is what it is. I'm a very charismatic person, so I love storms. Okay, so I want badass storm. Okay, badass storm is one thing. Hurricane is completely
Lacey,
different thing.
yeah, it's not. You don't want it. Trust me. Like I said, I've lived through a lot of them.
Yep.
I did just random sidebar. Just retweet something that says, if adults called you an old soul, quote unquote, when you were a kid, you're on at least one antidepressant now. I'm like, yep. Fact.
Hey, guess what? Ednut sent it to me.
That's it, Ednuts. We're not friends anymore.
All right, I'll pull this up since she shared it. I'll throw it up on Twitter real fast.
I was gonna say she sent it to you so you could pull it up on the big screen because I'm illiterate.
Smart.
Yeah, I'm old. I do qualify as a millennial though. I'd like everyone to know that.
Just look through the whole thread of shit. Okay, all right, here we go. Let me zip and zip.
You read that. I need more whiskey. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. I'm gonna bring the bottle up.
Can I ask who you are, sir?
Soy abogado aquí para ayudar. Si necesitas ayuda, dígame tu nombre. Dígame tu nombre si necesitas ayuda. If you're detained, give me your name.
Get out if you're smart. Get out.
Who are you? Who are you?
Don't worry about who we are.
Are you police?
Don't
Are
worry
you
about
police?
who we are. You need to get out. Get out. Get out.
Jesus.
Get out now.
Are you police?
Don't worry about who we are.
Are you police?
Get out. You have.
What the hell?
Can we see your badges, sir?
And then this guy. Second video reminder: these individuals shoving your staff are hired by DHS Gov to care for children.
You don't have nothing.
That's guaranteed.
You have no business.
I have a room.
You
here.
don't. No,
I
not
have
on the
a
fourth
room
floor, bro.
There's not on this floor.
You don't have nothing.
That's guaranteed. Get out on this floor. Get out.
Who are you?
Don't fucking worry about who the fuck I am, bro.
Why are you doing this?
You have no business.
I have a room.
You
here.
don't. No,
I
not
have
on the
a
floor.
Jesus Christ. That's insane. What the hell? What the hell? Oh my goodness.
What the hell was that about? So that fat guy goes into the.
It was like a bunch of big fat dudes that are apparently supposed to be like watching after children on that hotel floor, and this dude was like, "Hey, what are you guys like?" The skinny dude came in and was like, "What are you guys doing here?" Like trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, and they just bullied him back into the elevator.
Whose kids are they?
I don't know. These pictures of them holding. There's pictures of them holding signs to the windows asking for help. Jesus Christ. So I guess there's this family is getting detained in McAllen against their will, and they're holding up. Here we go. Let me look at this. So here is this is also another tweet she shared with me from the Texas Civil Rights Project. We need people in McAllen. Meet us at Hampton Inn in McAllen, 10 West Expressway 83 at 6:55 p.m.
I know exactly where that is.
Park at the plaza next to the hotel. DHS is keeping children and asylum seekers in this hotel before illegally expelling them. Our attorneys will be here trying to help them. Hashtag RGV. Is that what? Rio Grande Valley?
Puro 956, Rio Grande Valley Way.
Rio Grande Valley Way?
Vamos.
It's a bunch of families and kids? Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, okay, just playing the devil's advocate, right? They very well could be detained as illegal immigrants and, like, in the middle of a virus, don't want to send them back. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'm trying to swear less also to,
Yeah.
be a little bit more civilized with my speak, I guess. I notice especially as I start to dive down some rabbit holes, I really start to just wing it with some swear words. I'm gonna try to be a little. I don't really care that much.
Alex
but
can try and censor himself. I don't give a fuck.
Anyway, yeah. So don't read that message. Basically, again, playing devil's advocate, they could be detainees because there's so many detainees at the border every day, and they're trying to house them before they send them back. I don't know. Department of Homeland Security. Yeah, they're.
Supposedly. I don't
well,
know. Usually
Department of Homeland Security is the department that's deploying all of those agents into different cities right now, rolling up on protesters.
Yeah, even if those guys were DHS, I'm pretty sure they're still supposed to have badges somewhere on their person.
See, I didn't even know Department of Homeland Security had like an infiltrate division. Like that's news to me.
Yeah, they have agents and that kind of stuff. So yeah, they definitely have like a Department of Homeland Security cops and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Well.
Yep. So that seems highly suspect without all of the facts.
It's definitely weird on the surface.
Yeah.
I don't know that plays back to pedogate. I mean,
I don't think. I mean, could very well, but it could also not. It could just be some people being either illegally detained or legally detained. That guy was trying to figure it out, and DHS was not about it. So I don't know. It's a very weird situation that'll require some more light to be shed on it and some more investigating.
I'll do some more research. It's a little close to home.
What's going on with that? Also, speaking of Texas and things happening in Texas, Mark Cuban staying quiet about literally everything happening in China.
Yeah, well,
because it hurts his bottom line.
Yeah, like the
NBA is a bunch of fucking pansies because they won't say shit against China because it hurts their money. Which who cares? You guys probably make enough money here; it doesn't matter. But it's all a big business. So there's that. The Chinese consulate, well, actually, the U.S. consulate in was it Beijing? I don't know if it was Beijing. Might have been Beijing. Anyway, the U.S. consulate over in China, they shut down and pulled out, and China took that over because we told them to get out of Texas, so the Chinese consulate in Texas got closed.
It's Hong Kong, isn't it?
Might have been Hong Kong. I don't remember.
Hong Kong is some weird shit's going on over in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong's a
right
freaking
now,
war zone right now. And also China is, and has been actually for a few years as I dived into this and did a little bit of research, but I'm going to butcher these dudes' names too, and I'm sorry for that.
Dude, isn't it funny how you do all this research prepping for this, and then it's like I got like so many like fish swimming around in my head. It's hard to so just bad. Like.
But China, at least they're very more bold about it now. But at least for a couple years, there's a group of Muslims called the I think when I heard it on Joe Rogan's podcast and stuff, they pronounced it Uyghurs. But it's spelled Uyghurs. But I think it's pronounced Uyghurs. But anyway, it's a Muslim group over in China's western province. It's a very remote western province of, I'm going to butcher this too because I don't know Chinese. Xinjiang, I think. The western province of Xinjiang in China. They are literally have rounded up like 2 million of these people and are, guess what? Putting them in concentration camps. But they're calling them concentrated education transformation centers because they don't want Muslims in China. They want everybody to speak Mandarin. And they have, the Chinese Communist Party has zero tolerance for people that are not Chinese, basically. But these people have been living there forever.
Dude, they're sterilizing them.
And they're forcibly sterilizing them, so sterilizing some of them and forcing them into labor. So they've got them doing forced labor, and they're actively sterilizing them in order to basically eradicate them from China.
Stop me if you've heard this one before.
Yeah, where did we
There's
see
a guy
this one?
who did that for a while. His name started with an H and rhymed with Riddler. So you tell me where we've seen this in American history.
Yeah, so that not even American history, just world history.
Almost as if we eradicate history, like tear down statues and things like that, we won't be able to remember that this has once happened within our society. Almost as if that would be a Marxist ideology. So that, like if we tore down Civil War statues, we wouldn't remember that there was a civil war at one point in time, so we
Right.
would engage in another civil war.
Surprise,
Almost
surprise.
almost as if this all fits into this narrative of what people are trying to accomplish. Weird.
Yeah, super weird. But yeah, so China's been doing this. Well, they're actively now rounding up a bunch of people, but for a few years now, they've been taking some of their the Uyghur scholarly people. There's one guy on an article I read. He I think he lived in America but was back in China, and then that doing uh, um, what was it like?
Who's chat talking about right now? Sorry not to interrupt
Hitler.
you.
Am I allowed to say his name? Yes,
Oh.
Hitler was born on 420 also. Oh, nice. So I'm not allowed to say his name. No,
Sick.
no. The moderation
four-
settings just hold that up, so I allowed it. You're good.
Yeah, you can say Hitler.
You can say it. I just have the moderation settings are set up just in case somebody wants to come in here and do crazy shit. I like to review some messages before I allow them. But yeah, so there was this one guy. He was back there doing it wasn't educational, but he's basically doing like whatever their I can't remember the language, whatever language the Uyghurs speak, because it's not Mandarin, but he was doing translations from like I think they said Han, so like Han to Mandarin, in order for those people to be able to communicate with their Chinese neighbors in the area and all that stuff. And then lo and behold, the Chinese secret police that are not so secret came and just snatched him up, and his family hasn't heard from him since, and that was back in 2017. So they've been snatching scholarly people up for a few years, and now they're just rounding all of them up. And apparently, there's been... I'm going to read this because this was from a former... Get out of here, Ed. A former senior administration official in Trump's administration. I'm going to read this quote. It's like four short paragraphs. But it says, throughout his presidency, 9 current and former senior administration officials say Trump has exhibited a callous indifference to what has been described as crimes against humanity and cultural genocide taking place in China's western Xinjiang province. Quote, he couldn't give a shit, said a former senior Trump administration official who's been in the room when Trump has discussed the Uyghur crisis. This official added that his experience, quote, there has never been any indication when the issue comes up that the president cares or is even making an effort to fake it, end quote. The current administration official said that Trump will, at times, show signs of fleeting concern or a peep of outrage in private meetings, but the source added that this is typically undercut by his limited attention span. Savage. This official recounted that during one policy discussion early last year, when the Uyghur Muslims came up, President Trump interjected, "How is that our problem?" And then last quote is, it was clear that to most, based off my conversations with the national security team, that the president couldn't care less about this, one former Republican national security official said, referring to the Uyghur camps. So Trump doesn't give a shit. Mark Cuban doesn't give a shit. When he was asked about the Uyghur crisis in China, he was quoted saying, that seems like I don't want to involve myself or comment on China's internal affairs. And I was like, bitch, this isn't an internal affair in China. Yes, it's happening in China, but this is a humanitarian crisis.
I'm laughing at Mr. Goku's comment. Shaking my head, I thought Trump was impeached.
Mr. Goku lives under a rock, and I love it. I'm not trying to give a jab at you, Mr. Goku, but it's so funny that you're like, what the fuck?
That's why I wanted to do something like this, is so people can get informed and not have to like dig through articles and articles of like what we do every day, what we send each other every day, like digging through all the weeds of it and like
it's
just get information out there.
Mm-hmm. That's why I put the educational tag
you.
on our thing, because we are trying to educate people about what's fucking going on in this country and in the world. But yeah,
it's hard to keep up, dude. It's hard to know where to get your information from.
You just don't get it from regular news sources, or if you do get it from regular news sources, take it all with a grain of salt, bounce them off of each other, try and find the middle ground of what they're talking about, and then go do your own research try and find the most unbiased news source you can in order to get some semblance of the truth. Like I have, when I listen to the news sometimes in the car in the morning when I'm driving to work, I have routers, whatever it's called. They read me the news because they're pretty unbiased. I listen to the BBC, which I don't know how unbiased they are, but when they comment on American politics, I feel like that's pretty unbiased.
Yeah.
I also have Fox News come across just to see what kind of insanity they're spewing forth. And I think there's a couple other ones. The Economist, if you guys haven't checked out The Economist is a good one to check out. Very unbiased. They're really good. I
Well,
like them a lot. I was subscribed to their like magazine for a little bit.
I hate to sit here and just continue to like fanboy over Joe Rogan's podcast, but like the Ben Shapiro Joe Rogan podcast, I mean, dude, you can gather, and you don't have to love or agree with everything that Ben Shapiro has to say, because
I didn't.
He's got some takes that I'm not a huge fan of, but he also says a lot of things. Here's one thing you can't say about Ben Shapiro is that he shows any sort of bias towards any sort of situation.
He really doesn't. He
looks at it from such a factual standpoint. He might have a bad take on it, and he'll be the first one to say, "This is my thoughts. These are my opinions." But that's exactly what they are opinions.
And they're very well-educated opinions.
Yeah, exactly. He might say something. I'm like, all right, come on, Ben. Like, dude, I had a dream last night. I haven't even told you about this. There's old Luna Bear. I had a dream last night that I was having a drink with Ben Shapiro, and I was kind of roasting him a little bit, and we were sitting there laughing. I'm like, I feel like that's pretty accurate, you know?
Well,
like,
I mean, that's what happened.
I was giving him shit over how his wife's a doctor and how he always talks about his wife's a doctor.
Right.
If you want to know what Ben Shapiro's wife does, just ask him.
She won't shut up about it. Yeah, no, it was a good podcast, and I liked it because Joe Rogan was more middle ground type, and Ben Shapiro is very more right-leaning. He's very more conservative. But when he talks about things, he's a very well educated person. And he does, see both sides, and then he gives, his opinion on whatever situation they're talking about. Then him and Joe Rogan had a discussion about it. And Joe Rogan disagreed with plenty of things they said, but they had a very civil discussion about it. They both saw where each other was coming from, and it was really nice. So it was a good podcast to listen to. It was a lot of things I agreed with what Ben Shapiro said, and there was a lot of things that I didn't agree with on some of his things. But I mean, it was a very educational podcast.
Well, you get a lot of truth. You don't get all that.
There was not much bullshit in that one.
Crap, exactly.
I do have a bone to pick with Joe Rogan right now because I didn't watch it, but there was a clip circulating about how he shit on video games for a few seconds, and I was like, hey, I play video games.
Well, I think I know what you're talking about. It was in one of his most recent ones.
It was the most recent one with the Senna.
Yep, I literally just listened to that today.
I haven't listened to it because I don't know who like DeSena is, so I don't know.
Well, and I'm sure what they did, like cancel culture always does.
Oh, they just took that.
They clip out and they parse it out, and what he was saying was because DeSena was saying about how his kids now are saying like, well, Dad, this ninja guy makes a bunch of money. Like, this guy makes a bunch of money playing video games, which is all true. And basically what he said is like, okay, well, you got to be constantly adaptive. Like, you might get great at Call of Duty and next month nobody cares about Call of Duty. I'm paraphrasing. But like he was super addicted to Quake when it first came out.
Yeah, he was very addicted to Quake.
And what he was saying is he has an addiction problem where he's gotten addicted to pool in the past. He's gotten addicted to video games, like never drugs, but
it's just
because his fighting career, mixed martial arts, when he does something, he just wants to do it like 8 to 10 hours a day. And obviously you can't play video games 8 to 10 hours a day and be productive.
Yeah.
So
I get where he was coming with that. I was just saying it because it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like Ninja responded, and I was like, Ninja, you didn't really apparently Ninja watched like the entirety of that segment of it to get the context, and his response, I was like, shut the fuck up.
What did Ninja say? I hate that.
I hate him so much.
I shouldn't say hate. That's not the right word because I don't know.
I strongly dislike him as an individual.
I feel like he does a lot to just get attention and clicks.
Yeah, he does, and I respect his grind. He fucking did his grind and got good at video games.
Hey, he's making a lot of money.
Made a lot of money streaming and that kind of stuff, so good for him. But just him as a person is just, I can't stand him. But he was basically like, video games aren't that unproductive. Like, if you want to fucking play them and get good at them, trying to make money, you can. There's plenty of opportunities. You might not be on like a tier 1 organization where you go and play tournaments and win money that way, but he's like, there's plenty of opportunities that video games like give you, which is true, but 95% of the people that play these games, and now since streaming, like live streaming video games is such a popular thing to do, because people want to be the next big streamer. Everybody wants to make that kind of money, but like not everybody's gonna make that kind of money. It's really hard to get into that. I hesitate to call it a career field, but into that arena and make a name for yourself.
Here's the thing. It's just like everything else. It's just like everything else. Like, if you want to be really good at sales, you got to dedicate your life to sales. If you want to be a really good baseball player, you got to dedicate your life to playing baseball. If you want to be a fisherman, you got to dedicate, like Joe Rogan was talking about it, like he was grateful that his family wasn't that involved, because like when he decided he wanted to be a comedian, you know, most people will tell their kids like, oh, you want to be a comedian? Like, what are the chances? What are the odds? Well, what are the odds with being
literally
great at anything? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what your field is or what your craft is. Like, we're doing a podcast right now. Like, you know how many freaking people out there are trying to do a podcast right now?
Yeah, dude, it's a weird, it's weird.
And I'm not ashamed to say that some of the first episodes might suck, because that's what's going to have to happen.
You got to go through the growing pains of figuring it out. It's all trial and error. Podcasts and live streaming, you got to go through the trial and error of figuring out what works and what gets you, you know, where you need to be in order to do well.
We didn't start this thing to do 10 episodes and then say, well, I'm tired of this, I'm bored. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it sucks for 100 episodes, and then like 101 we finally
figure it out,
maybe get something that's real gold, and then we roll with it from there. I mean, you just got to be willing to suck at things.
Yeah.
And you got to find what you're passionate about.
It's true, and I can relate to both of those. Like with this podcast now and with streaming, like I've been like live streaming video games for almost a year now, and it's at times I've wanted to be like, nah, fuck this. This sucks. I'm not getting any views. Like, it's such a grind. I got to dedicate so much time to it. Is it even worth it? Like, but I like doing it, and I like doing this podcast, and I'm gonna keep at it until I figure out what works. And we get somewhere with both of them. So,
dude, Jocko Willink, I think, says it the best, and I say it to myself all the time. Like, getting out of bed this morning, I was so tired, dude. Like, just run down after just being out in the sun all weekend, playing all these games, and I'm in the shower. I'm like, dude, this sucks. And in my head, I'm like, good. Like, you got to embrace the suck. Like, you have to embrace the suck, because if it was easy, everybody'd do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, if it was easy, it wouldn't be hard. That sounds like so cliche, but most people get to that hard or that suck phase and are like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I got to cut this out. I got to cut that out. I can't do this anymore because it's too hard.
Yeah.
No, dude. Unless you're dead or sick, keep doing what you're doing that's going to make you happy. Embrace the suck. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
At some point in time.
It's all gonna suck. Like, today I woke up. This is 2 Mondays in a row. I've woken up and like, fuck this, dude. I want to quit my job because I hate my job. My job sucks. This is the one suck I don't want to embrace. But I just have to embrace this suck until October, basically. Hopefully, fingers crossed, October, and then I'll be able to get out of this job and into something that I actually want to do. So,
yeah.
Things happen for a reason. You go through the shit for a reason, and then
you gotta embrace the suck, dude.
Yep, and that's a saying that floats around in the Marine Corps a lot. Sometimes to a fault, actually, but
that one, and so he also has a saying that's "Don't be a little bitch."
Yeah, deep.
And again, I would modify that statement to say, "Don't act like a little bitch."
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying like a female. I hope don't take that to.
That's not. We're not talking about it. Just don't be a pussy. Well, that also doesn't make sense.
I can't say that. Yeah, that's worse. That's
so
definitely
much
worse.
Don't be a weenie.
Don't let your emotions dictate your actions.
Yeah.
Would maybe be a better way to say that. Like, it's okay to feel tired. It's okay to feel like I don't want to do this. But the minute you start to let those thoughts dictate your actions, that's the second that you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're not going to be making very good decisions. You know,
True.
Discipline.
Yep, you're right, Lacey. Break the comfort zone. Everybody always got to be breaking your comfort zone.
Amen.
It's true.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Indeed. But yeah, no, anyway, getting back to the China thing, because we went on a wild.
Yeah, we kind of went on a
I
little
don't
rabbit
remember
hole
where
there.
we took, where that road diverged, and we took the other direction, but we took
Yeah.
it.
So,
but
China,
yeah,
you
so,
should stop rounding up people and
yeah, definitely stop running.
sterilizing
And
them.
I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Well, we shouldn't get involved," but no, I feel like we should, and it's gonna be a tricky thing for us to get involved on that. If we do it, military action is probably not the best course of action in that one, because that is gonna end poorly for pretty much everyone involved, and even those not involved. But I don't know how well economic sanctions are gonna work to get China to realize they're fucking up. Because they don't really give a fuck. China doesn't care. We've economically sanctioned them so many times that they're just like, I don't care.
If we didn't owe China a bunch of money also, and if China also coincidentally had some oil wells that we could drill into, we'd be knocking on that
we'd
door
be
tomorrow.
like, excuse me, freedom's here.
Hey, yeah, that's right. Now we've got a vested interest over here. So
The only problem with doing that is China is real buddy with Russia, so that's
that's a scary little
it's a
combo.
scary thing, and that if anything goes militaristic in that direction, things are gonna get real hot real fast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't
China
know.
still harbors some grudges, I think.
Mm-hmm. And Russia's just looking for an excuse at this point. So I don't know. I don't know. We got to figure out how to intervene in that situation to get them to stop fucking rounding people up and actively sterilizing them and putting them in concentration camps and forcing them into labor. When
That
those
would be
dudes are
good.
just out here trying to live their lives. So yeah,
Social freedoms, religious freedoms.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in communist China. You are
No.
Chinese and communist, or you are going away forever.
I mean, Ben at one point in time said he thought it might be a flying spaghetti monster that, rules our day to day, which Wolverine and I. Wait, is Wolverine on tonight?
He is not.
Bummer. Shout out to Wolverine.
Yeah, 2 episodes ago. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's our best one yet, actually. Did really well.
I honestly do. I think I don't think we've put out a bad one. I'm also extremely biased.
True.
But the religion one was a good one.
Really good. They really it did well on YouTube, so people
I'd-
actually like that one. So
I'd like to have John back on sometime because I listened to it. That's the only one I've listened to in its entirety the next day, and I was like, why didn't I ask him about this? And like, why didn't
I know I've had
ask
other
that question?
questions pop up.
I'd
that
like
I
to
wanted
do a
ask him.
religion part 2
Yeah,
for
we should
sure.
have him back on for that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, how about the thing you sent me today, where apparently now age is fluid, people. Welcome to
Dude.
2020, where a man. Well, this was actually a few years ago, but a guy in where was it? The Netherlands.
I don't remember where he was located.
I feel like it
'cause
was. I feel like it was the Netherlands.
I was too busy rolling my eyes the entire article to actually
69 years old, and he says he looks and feels like he's 49. So why should he not be able to shave 20 years off of his age? Family write some horse stuff. All right, Lacey, sounds good. I'll try actually and have this edited up and put on YouTube tonight. Actually, so keep with that. upload
Ride a
schedule.
horse for me, Lacey. Love you. Have a good night. Tell your husband I said hey, and your kids.
And your kids. But yeah, so he was like, why can I not just shave 20 years off my life? And I was like, well, because you were born 69 years ago, not 49 years ago.
I'm gonna try to rein this in as much as possible because I was just having this conversation with a coworker today, and she feels very similarly to the way that I feel. When you enter the gender fluidity, because this is what all of this age fluidity piggybacks on gender fluidity, right?
And
Because that was literally the title of the article.
and transgenders as well.
I'll
We'll get there.
So the title of the article was, if gender can be fluid, why can't age be fluid? Which on its own, okay, that statement on its own, if we take that and extract it and just put it over here, that is a valid argument. That is a very valid argument. Because, okay, if the biological constructs of what we've been given as a basic human, if that can be fluid, then we do have to start entering this era, this space where our biological constructs, or lack thereof, to play the devil's advocate, it all can be fluid, right? But here's the thing: gender is not fluid. And I don't care, dude. I don't care if you are born a male and you want to become a female. If you get to 22, 23, 24, 25, whatever years old, and you're a male and you really truly feel in the entity of your being that, you know what, I was born in the wrong body and I want to start taking these steps. I want to start taking hormones. I want to get surgery. I want to transition from male to female. Be my fucking guest, dude. I don't care. Live a happy life. I might not agree with it, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to hug you. I'm still going to share a drink with you. I'm still going to treat you like a human being. Yeah. Okay, so I would like to clarify that.
Preface that
right off the bat.
Yeah.
But to say, like, J.K. Rowling came under all of that fire because she said men are born men, women are born females, women are born women, and for a male to transition to a female and then start to, claim these women's rights or whatever, like, you're taking away from the actual female woman's rights, which I agree with. And it's crazy. Like, we lean on science, right? When it comes to climate change, it's science. Right. Science, which, again, that's the way that it should be. We should lean on science. But when it comes to a certain category, a certain narrative within that same discussion, now we throw science out the window. That's what is going to.
There's science apparently that backs up the thing that sexuality. Well, I don't know if it's sexuality or gender is on a spectrum. Apparently, there's been scientific research to support that gender can be fluid. Which I don't know what scientist backed that research, but I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think gender can be fluid. I feel like I think it falls under like body dysmorphia. But if, like you said, if you're so-and-so, like you're X person and you were born a man, but you really, in your deep down inside of you, feel like you were actually like a woman, fine, make the change. Or vice versa. But you can't, I don't believe that you could be a person that sits there and goes, today I'm a man, and then wakes up tomorrow and goes, now I'm a woman. And just go back and forth and flip-flop, 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 and try and take the best of both worlds on that.
I'm gonna try to not dominate this conversation, but you're getting into like where it fundamentally bothers me, because let me tell you why it fundamentally bothers me before I get down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I was a preschool teacher, right? I taught 4 and 5-year-olds. I was a male in that field, which unfortunately, if you look at all the sexual assault charges among 4 and 5-year-olds in preschool childcare environments, it's heavy dominated males, right? I would have parents take a tour of I'll never forget this day. I was so heated. This dad came and toured my 4 and 5-year-old classroom, which is clean. I've got evidence of learning up on all the walls. We ran that classroom like a little mini civilization, and we worked as a team every day to make sure those kids were happy and they were safe and they were learning. Some days everybody was happy, everybody was safe, everybody was learning. Other days a block would get thrown across the room and somebody would wear a block across the eyebrow and I'd have to file an incident report, blah, blah, blah. Some days it worked, some days it didn't. But that being said, I'll never forget this dad toured my classroom, and we get through the end of the classroom and I'm showing him like all the different stations. And that day we were just flowing, man. Like me and my kids, we were just having a great day. And he looked at me and he's like, you got kids? I'm like, well, I got 15 of them in my classroom, but I get to send them home every day, which was kind of my stock answer.
Right.
And I was like 23 at the time. He's like, why would a 23-year-old single guy want to teach kids? I'm like, I love kids, man. Like, I get along with them, you know? And they didn't enroll in my classroom. And the dad said he thought it was weird that a 23-year-old single male would want to spend all of his time with younger kids. And it bothered me, dude. It really bothered me. And then I started doing some research into the statistics of all of the sexual assault, sexual abuse cases within child care centers, within daycare centers, call them what you want. It was heavily dominated by males. And I kind of understood. I didn't agree with where he was coming from, but I kind of understood.
Mm-hmm.
And if you enter into this gender fluidity stage, right, which again piggybacks, or excuse me, age fluidity stage, which piggybacks off of gender fluidity, because again, biological constructs, which we're given, if I would have engaged in some act with, and again, I never, like, I will cut the hands off of a pedophile. Like, if anything's been learned about me throughout this podcast, I hope it's that I have this passion for children and fighting for them to not be taken advantage of.
Right.
But so say I would have entered a situation where I would have abused a 4 or 5 year old female girl, right? I could legitimately go to court and claim that I had the heart, I had the conduct, the thinking of a 4 or 5 year old young boy. So that would have made all of my actions justifiable against that 4 or 5 year old girl.
Right.
And I will kill a motherfucker. Like, you want to talk about the one little button in my heart that if you push it, you're going to see such a different, like, rageful, spiteful person come out. Like, you cannot make that argument. It's such a dangerous territory, dude. Like,
no, for sure.
That is so dangerous. You're leaving these children susceptible to predators.
Yeah,
like,
because they can then claim, you know, XYZ, my age is not this. And that's the other thing that, like, it gets, that as I was reading that, it was one of the first things I thought of. Not even about, you know, societal constructs about what age you can do certain things at, which I could talk about in a second. But, like, that was the first thing that, like, popped in my mind. I was like, dude, these pedophiles now, if this becomes a thing, they're just going to be able to run around willy-nilly doing whatever the fuck they want, because they could get to court and they're like, well, you're a pedophile. They're like, no, I'm not. I identified as a fucking 3-year-old or whatever. While I was doing these acts, and it's just like, that's such a dangerous and slippery slope for society to be just on the precipice of. Like, it's gonna just throw us down the shitter so fast.
There was a male teacher at a very close adjacent preschool to us at the time, and it hurt me. It hurt my class numbers. It honestly did. And I don't really blame parents.
Yeah.
Because when you see it, and then you see this child predator has been, you know, abusing young children in this preschool right, you know, 5 miles from us, and then they come to take a tour and it's a male teacher. Like, I wish that they would be more educated and like value me as a person versus just like a male generalization. But I understood where they were coming from. I really did get it. Like,
right.
I hated to say it, but I understand the bias. It's still a bias.
Yeah.
But when, again, you start to say that my biological being can be fluid to the point where I can choose my gender, I can choose my age, I can choose this, I can choose that or the other, like that, we have a foundational agreement on the fact that fucking 23, 24-year-old men should not be able to engage in sexual activities with anybody under the age of 18.
Right.
It can't exist. Mm-mm. And I'm sorry, again, if you want, and it all piggybacks off of the gender fluidity movement.
And the people that started this whole thing have no regard and no thought to the consequences of this. They're just so concerned about what they want in the moment that they could give a fuck less about the consequences of this whole thing when and if it pans out and falls out. And then when it goes south, they're going to step back and be like, not our fault. We didn't do it. I just wanted, this was just for me. I'm selfish and I just wanted to be able to do this. And it's like, bro, you can't live like that. Like, the thing you are doing with your gender fluidity and your age fluidity that's now piggybacking off of this is throwing a giant wrench in the cogs of society, and it's going to just destroy it. Because even not getting into the super heinous and disgusting things that people could do and will do with this, you're going to have people that are like, you have kids that are like, oh, if age is fluid, I'm 10 years old, let me go and I'll go rent a car for the day or whatever. And, the age to rent a car in the United States is 25. You have to be 25 in order to rent a car. Some states you can be younger, but the insurances and the prices are way higher. But standard is 25. This kid's going to walk up to the counter and be like, hey, I'm 25 today, I want to rent a car. And then he's going to go get behind the wheel of an automobile that he has no business driving. And he's going to either seriously injure himself or many other people on his, day where he thought it was, it was going to be fun. And you can then equate that to, the drinking age, where underage drinking is going to run rampant because kids are just going to be like, I'm 21 today, I'm going to go to the bar, get drunk, whatever. What else? You're going to have people voting that aren't supposed to be able to, have the cognitive ability to be able to vote. You're going to have old-ass people saying that they're, X age now and whatever consequences come with that. You're going to have people that are 40 years old that are sick and tired to have a bad day at work and be like, oh, I'm 66 now, I'm going to go claim Social Security and not work.
It sounds like a bizarro world, but that's the world that we're living in right now for whatever reason. So it seems so asinine to me. And again, let me reiterate, if you're a male that wants to be identified as a female, I will call you the she pronouns. If you change your name from Tyler to Christina, I will identify you as Christina. But at the same time, I will tell you, Tyler to Christina, that you will never be able to bear children. And I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm not. That is just a biological fact. And if the day ever comes where science progresses to the point where we can really truly turn a male into a female who can harvest a child, I will change my stance. If that day ever comes. I'm not saying that I have a problem with people transitioning.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. But my problem
is with the fluidity of
people being able to say that. So if I went out within the next 2 months and I just decide I want to be a female and I get the surgeries, I take the pills, blah, blah, blah. I still am not a female. I'm sorry. I cannot harvest children. I don't have ovaries. I don't have the ability to do that.
Harvest isn't.
Well, I can harvest them. That's maybe not the best.
Harvest isn't. You can't bear children. You can't bear children. Yeah.
I cannot grow a human in my stomach.
Even biologically, your bone structure and muscle structure will still be that of a male.
That's science, dude. That's biology.
Unless you get to the point where you're gonna start injecting people with things that's literally gonna change them at a cellular level.
And when you open those floodgates, being able to say, this is what happens, dude. You get into things where people will be genetically altering their children while they're still in the womb, which is a thing that's been going on for a while. People have been trying to be able to get to that point where you can, if you are about to have a child and you do all the tests and everything and they come back and say, hey, your child's going to be born with Down syndrome or your child's going to be born with this or that. People are trying to get to the point where they can be like, no, he's not going to be born with Down syndrome because we're going to go in and genetically alter him so that he is not going to be mentally handicapped. And then that opens the floodgates into a whole realm where humanity is now playing God. And there's plenty of movies where that has happened and it didn't go well. But they said this on Joe Rogan's podcast a few times, and I read the book and I didn't really enjoy the book because at the time I read it
It was for school, but it was also I was like, whatever, this is for school, but I also try to read this for entertainment purposes. But George Orwell's 1984. I
I
didn't
knew
like
that's what
I
I knew
didn't
that's what
like
you
the
were
book
gonna
at the
say.
time, but I probably need to go back and read it in a different mindset because
We're-
the parts that I do remember of that book are becoming more and more eerily similar to what is going on today.
We're
George
And
Orwell,
again-
I'm gonna say it. George Orwell was a goddamn prophet. He fucking wrote about aliens and he wrote about fucking Big Brother taking over
We're
the
a time
world, and
traveler.
we are getting to the point.
the only thing we don't do right now is we're not forcibly turned on to dude, I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from
It's
this.
okay,
We're
the
not
next-
forcibly forced, whatever, to watch like, because everybody would have to turn on their TVs
Yeah,
at
at
a
the
certain
same
time to watch the news.
And it's
But we
propaganda,
do
that's
that
what it is.
anyway. We don't
No.
have to. Nobody has to force us. People watch CNN and Fox News every single day. It's the same premise.
at the
It's
same
the
time.
exact same premise.
Which is they were doing that back when he wrote that book. Anyway, so this is
Yeah.
that's the premise that he had when he wrote that. Anyway, Mr.
I
Cuckoo
don't-
says so.
well-
I could just claim to be an airplane and skip school. Yeah, basically.
Well, that's what you enter into that realm. I mean, if you start throwing out biological constructs and move that into a fluidity stage where you can just claim whatever you want to claim, what's to stop me from claiming, you know what? My whole life I've really felt like I'm a cat. Like my whole life, dude, I love to take naps. I love sitting in the sunshine. Like I don't like leaving my house. I really feel like I should have been born a cat. So now I'm going to start identifying as a cat.
I mean, there's people that do that now.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
But
there-
people
yeah.
are those people.
There's people
are
who like to dress up as lamps and stuff. Like
these people are psychotic. But
it's a mental illness. It's a mental illness. We shouldn't be encouraging it. We should be saying.
here's help.
And again, I'm not talking about like the gender transition.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna feel happier as a
We're-
female shaving your head and dressing up as a male every day and going by a male name versus a female name, great.
Fine.
More power to you.
We're
I
talking
don't
about
care
people.
at all. Yes.
We're talking
But
about
you
people
can't-
that run a ride that bitch like it's a fucking roller coaster.
And on your birth certificate, if you are a female transitioning to a male, you should not have the ability. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry if this hurts anyone, but you should not have the ability to change that from female to male because at your core, at your biological identification, you are a female.
True, and that has medical implications because when people go to the doctor and they ask for your gender on those paperwork and those forms, it's so they know what medicine to give you, how much of that medicine to give you, and like a plethora of other things. If you want to be transgender and identify as a female if you were male, or male if you were female, and people have fought this too. And doctors have come out and told them, be like, look, we get it. That like you're a female now, you've made the change, but you still need to put what you were biologically born as because that is what your cellular makeup is. And if we fuck around, well, not fuck around, but if we give you whatever medicine this is or whatever treatment you need based off the fact that you put female on your paperwork and you're actually biologically a male, you are going to die.
Yeah.
There's a very high chance that if we give you the female dosage, it's not going to be enough. Or if you're female and we give you the male dosage, it's going to be too much, and you have a very high chance of death. So please, for the love of God, put what you were biologically born as. And that's all they're asking. Other than that, they could give a fuck less. I'm pretty sure your driver's license, after you change, you can still make it. You can still say I'm a female, but when you go to do medical things, you need to put what you were biologically born as. Otherwise, you have death. Death is certain. Or treatment will fail.
If you want to change those forms to say biological identification,
Yeah, or it's like change
societal,
something.
whatever.
That way
like,
you can
whatever.
put both of them on there and they know.
Again, I'm not trying to say like
I'm not trying to stifle your right to change. If you in your heart believe that you were a male, but you were born a male, but you actually are a female trapped in a male's body, fine. But do the change. But
and I will call you whatever you
I'll
want me to
use your
call
pronouns.
you.
I'll do whatever you want to do.
I'll officiate your wedding. I don't care. But we need to come to an agreement
Has to be a point.
that biology is biology, and we can't open the door for these pedophiles or anybody to take advantage of that situation.
Because it's human nature to do that. Once humans find a loophole, they're going to exploit the fuck out of that loophole.
Imagine if Jeffrey Epstein could have been able to say, you know what, my whole life I really identified as a 16-year-old male. I've never really graduated from that stage in my life, so that justified all of my actions against all of these 16-year-old females. That could legitimately hold up in the court of law if we enter into the gender age fluidity discussion.
And then everybody's
that
going to
could
be
hold
like,
up.
yeah.
That could be real.
If we were to use that example, now everybody's going to be like, oh, well, no, we can't have that because he was a horrible human being. Well, what the fuck else is you going to think is going to happen when you get to that point and other people start doing it? Now you've opened that can of worms and they're not going back in the can. It's gonna
all of the teachers that it comes out with, like these, you know, it's happened in all. We had a guy in our church that was soliciting young girls. I mean, like it happens, and you cannot give these predators the legal room or the social room to be able to claim this, because they will take advantage of it, and it will work against us, and it will hurt children. I'm sorry.
It will
you
happen.
You can't do it.
There has to be a point where you, I don't even know how to word this without getting shit on later. I don't want to say there has to be a point where equal rights stop, because it should never stop. But there has to be a point where people use common sense and look at it and be like,
science.
Just use science. You just use science. Like, you gotta use science to put.
Just use science
to say we'll go equal rights up until the point where people want to go age and gender fluidity, and then that's gonna fuck everything. You can't go past this. This is the line. This is the line, not in the sand, just the hard ass line in the goddamn pavement. Don't cross it.
And this 65-year-old man has the same rights as that 65-year-old man, or that 18-year-old girl, or that 5-year-old girl, whatever. But we are protecting minors.
Children.
Like,
babies.
Children. Minors. If you would have asked me at 12 years old, if somebody who came up to me at 12 years old and be like, hey, you can marry either Mary Kate or Ashley Olsen right now, I'd have been like, where the fuck do I sign up? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so ready. Like, are you kidding me? Even if they were 18, I'd have been like, let's go. That sounds great. Because I was 12. I was 12, an idiot.
You were a little prepubescent boy that was like, fuck yes!
My brain was forming. Dude, I was so obsessed with Britney Spears for so long.
Yeah.
I was so obsessed with Britney Spears for so long. I thought she was the hottest woman on the face of the earth. And it's because I was a kid. I was dumb. I mean, and she might have been one of the most but I look now and I'm like, that's not really my style. Like, the whole, like, shaving the head thing. Like, I'm sure she's great for somebody else, but, like, even now, I'm like, no, I'm not really.
And those were my girls.
Yeah, that's on my Bumble profile.
It's just
my childhood crushes were Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Yeah, but children don't have the minds to know.
You can't make those decisions.
They can't make those decisions for themselves. You can't allow people to make those horrible decisions for them. Like, society needs to protect minors until they're of a point where they can fucking think for themselves.
Mention Brittany. Where are you going with this head nuts?
Oh god, that's gonna be a whole thing, because there's a whole. I'll call it a conspiracy at this point, where she's not in control of her life right now. People are manipulating her. People are manipulating. She was doing, like, it was crazy. She was like doing really bad for a long time. Went to, like, rehab or whatever. Came back, was doing just fine, living her life, posting all these videos on Instagram and Twitter of, like, how great her life was, and she was doing really well. She was happy and healthy with her family, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, nosedive. Nowhere. She's back in rehab. Somebody has control of her estate. And they're making her do all these things, and you can tell, like, her face in some of these videos, which have, like, since been removed from her profile. Like, she was looking, like, really healthy, looking really happy. Like, she was like
cocaine.
No, I mean, they probably injected her with heroin or some shit. But she was, like, doing great. She's, like, happy, healthy, and then now in these videos that she's been posting, that she looks like she doesn't want to be doing them. She looks so out of it. It's not even like. it's really hard to look at that and say, no, she's fine. Like her eyes look all sunken in and stuff. She looks like she just looks
again,
she looks unhealthy, and people are saying my wife was actually telling me about it because they think she's in a very controlling relationship where somebody is like definitely taking advantage of her and using her for her money. And yes. So Ednuts is saying the same thing. Like somebody looked on. Get the hell out of here, you bot.
Nope.
Get
Later.
the hell out of here.
Bye.
Banned. See you, kid.
Somebody, just to give a little context, somebody said, you want a bunch of followers or something like that?
some Twitch bot was coming in trying to get us.
We're not here for that. Bot, get out of here.
But yeah, so somebody in one of her watched one of her videos and then commented on it, and was like, "Hey, if you are actually in trouble, wear yellow in your next video because that's like the universal sign for people that are like in abusive relationships or that kind of stuff." And in her next video that got posted online, she wore yellow.
Dude,
so go ahead, Ed Nuts. I know you just said her brother spoke out about it, so I want to see what he said. So tell us what she said.
That was like
But
Justin
until
Bieber in that Yummy video. He was watching, or there was like a bunch of comments coming in, and somebody's like, "Touch your head if Yummy is about like child pedophilia," and like the next like 30 seconds, he's like grabbing his hat and stuff. And again, I can't get that far down into the rabbit hole because I'm like, okay, well, that could very easily, like, the guy's head might have itched.
Yeah.
And it was just like a very easily, like,
yeah, but this whole
one
thing,
comment, you know.
this thing with her like wearing yellow, it's a well-known thing that like it's a very subtle like deal that people in like abusive relationships or controlling relationships where they're being taken advantage of or sexually abused or physically abused, like I don't remember how it came about, but yellow was like the code color basically.
Well, they might have like some blackmail on her, that she doesn't want to come out.
What I think it is I think her dad at one point had control of like her estate and stuff. When she had her breakdown, he was raking in mad dough off of that. And then when she got better and got herself cleaned up, she took that away from him or whoever was controlling it, and like that dude obviously super pissed because now he doesn't have a cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
And so something happened. I think something happened there where they sent her back down the wrong path. Send the article. Honestly, don't know what he said. I didn't care enough to look into it. Got you. And as I said, but I do see a lot of videos about her signals. I know y'all hate TikTok, but conspiracy TikTok is on the money. I don't have TikTok, so
I'm not putting TikTok on my phone. Not doing it.
I ain't gonna do it. I never liked
China
TikTok.
that data.
I never liked TikTok from the beginning, and that was the icing on the cake.
I'm not giving China that data.
But yeah, so
not a chance.
that's what's never got a little spiel on Brittany. But yeah, so that's I guess what's happening. Well, allegedly what's happening with her.
We're at an hour 25.
Hour 25.
I got volleyball in a flat hour. Okay. So
yeah,
I think we're getting about to the point where we turn it over to chat.
Yeah, and I'll watch that Ed Nuts video later. I won't show you guys. We'll do it. I'll show it whenever we do a podcast on aliens. But do you guys have anything else like what in your world happened this week? I watched for an hour. And for that we thank you, Mr. Goku.
We thank you indeed. And don't get me wrong, I could sit here and talk for another hour and a half right now.
One of our first podcasts was 3 hours long.
Dude, I get charged up about this stuff, man.
We could really get into it, and we could really, both of us are talkers, and we could talk. But we took some feedback, and I'm now trying to keep it to a tight hour and a half at most.
And I want people to know that it's not. We don't do this to be like self-serving, to like sit here. We both really do care about the state of humanity and America, and wanting to make this space a better place. And so if anybody has any ideas, if friends have ideas, I mean,
we're open
we
to
really do want this to be an open forum.
Hit us up on our Twitters. You can post in the comments of the YouTube videos. When I put these up on YouTube, let us know suggestions and stuff on Twitter, on YouTube. There's an Instagram account. You can put stuff there.
You don't even have to follow, like, subscribe. I mean, it'd be nice if you did, but like, you don't even have to do all that. We just really want to try to advance
We
our.
both had enough of just ranting to each other while we play video games, and we just decided, well, shit, if we're gonna sit here and rant to each other about the same stuff that we both agree on, why the hell not? Why don't we
That's
just
really where this idea came from.
why don't we just make a podcast and get our shit out into the world, and maybe somebody will take it and do something with it, and maybe the Clintons will kill us. Who knows?
I don't think they're gonna come after us.
We're small potatoes.
Yeah. I did. There was a black car that followed me home. Well, not followed me home. They parked at the neighbor's house the other day, and like I was sitting in my driveway, like looking down my driveway, like,
What you doing, bud?
you're nobody's coming down that driveway, are they? Like, all right, just making sure. Like, we're good here. Like, fucking Pizzagate will make you second guess.
Shit's crazy, but yeah, if we're gonna get into that whole situation, we're gonna have to take like 2 or 3 podcasts to really talk about it. Probably maybe more, because that's a deep.
Well, and
deep,
we'll
deep,
have to
deep,
get
deep rabbit hole.
we'll have to get some guests involved.
Yeah, that'll be
Maybe next podcast we'll go with the guest route.
Maybe we'll get started. We'll get started on that whole deal. We could start a series.
Mr. Goku says, "Wait."
What are we waiting for, Super Chief? There are cops
There are
everywhere
cops
sitting in their
everywhere,
cars outside houses. Oh, good.
I need more
We
context
need more
on that.
information on that. What's happening now? What do you think of that? Well,
I need
shit,
more
I
context,
need more
brother.
information, my guy.
Where are the cops at?
Which states?
What?
All of the states? How many cops?
Yeah.
What are they
Whose
doing?
houses?
Are they abducting people?
Not to pick on Mr. Goku. He was also the one that thought Trump was impeached. So I'm interested to see. Well, in the black neighborhoods.
Oh, good, great, racist cops. Here we go.
Well, no, police presence is higher in higher crime rate neighborhoods, and unfortunately, a lot of those high crime rate neighborhoods happen to be predominantly African American.
Yep, they're there all the time, but
Yeah, it's a numbers game, man.
yeah.
It's crime rate. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that I've heard so many. There's a 9-year-old killed in a drive-by not long ago. What's today? Tuesday. So it's probably
Today's
last
Monday, the
Thursday.
27th.
Oh, today's Monday. Jeez, dude, I can't even keep my.
That map got you
days straight
jacked
right
up,
now.
bro.
Honestly, it's just being so busy right now between work and softball, and like every weekend I turn around, there's something going on.
Mhm.
I'm like, I literally just wake up every morning to the same alarm, and I'm like, all right, what's going on today? Okay, yeah, I gotta be there. Anyway, yeah, unfortunately, crime rate's higher in black neighborhoods. I don't like to say it, but it's just statistics.
Statistically,
It is what it is. So there's going to be a higher police presence in those neighborhoods.
Yep.
I don't like it. That's what I was going to say. There's a 9-year-old killed in a drive-by in the last week, and the dad was he was being interviewed by the local news, and he's like, Black Lives Matter, but Black lives don't matter when my 9-year-old son, like, where is everybody?
Mhm.
Where's the protests? And again, what happened to George Floyd's horrible. It's terrible. It's ugly. It's gross. It's murder. But for an entire nation to rally around that guy, which is deserved, I'm not saying that's not deserved, but for then a 9-year-old to turn around and be involved in a drive-by shooting between gang members that 9-year-old had nothing to do with. It's like, well, you're basically saying that George Floyd's life mattered and this 9-year-old who didn't do anything to deserve this, which you can argue George Floyd didn't deserve to either. I'm not.
She didn't.
Saying
Like,
that.
due process.
But at the same time, where is the outcry? Where's the outreach on this neighborhood on neighborhood violence, versus like police brutality, which it all needs addressed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that one is better or one needs more attention than the other, but at the same time, you should pay attention to, if you truly want to better your community and you're not just using it as a social platform, it should all get the same attention.
Exactly.
It really should. And It's not.
It's
It's
not.
being used as a Marxist ideology to create as much chaos at the bottom as possible so you can topple over the top.
Yep.
And it's just, dude, it drives me crazy.
It's all fucked.
I could go on for the next hour. I just want everybody to be peaceful, man. And I know that's like hippie, like, you know, whatever. I really do. Just
The hippies might
love
have
each
just
other,
had it
man.
right, man. The hippies
Just-
might have just had it right.
freaking be a good person. It's not that hard. Don't shoot people.
If only the summer of love continued on forever.
Don't judge people based on a pre-existing condition like skin color or healthcare or healthcare.
Or, yeah, well, healthcare
I'm
or,
losing
you
it.
know, ailments.
Hair
or
color is what I was trying to say.
That also.
Yeah.
You
Anyway,
freaking ginge.
I know. Imagine somebody walking out to me and being like, "You redheads, I just can't trust you. I'm gonna follow you around in the store a little extra close."
I mean,
Fuck off, bro.
do that religiously. To redheads specifically.
Listen, a lot of redheads aren't very good looking. They're
That's
not,
true.
you know, they're kind of, you know, not the most socially active people.
Look how
But-
attractive this man is, chat. He's single. All right.
All right,
right.
time to go.
Time to go. We'll see
We're an hour
y'all.
30.
We'll see y'all next week. It'll actually be on Sunday. And unless God forbid something else happens and we both are just dog shit tired. But until then, you guys have a good week. Be kind to each other. Be good people. Do what you can to help other people. And peace, love, and positivity, as my favorite rapper Logic says. So until next week, we'll be seeing ya.
Love you guys. Be good to each other.